Sandwiches. We all love them. And the funny thing is that every country has their different takes on it. I went on Instagram and asked all of my followers, which country makes the best sandwiches? And what are they? The replies were quite interesting. And on today's video, we are ranking the best of the best. If you love sandwiches, this video is for you. And we're gonna start off with the United States of America. There are wonderful sandwiches here in the country. But out of all of them, the one everyone requested the most was the Philly cheesesteak. This is a classic, created by a hot dog vendor that was just making a sandwich for himself. And the people say, you know what? Give me one of those. I want that instead of a hot dog. And the Philly cheesesteak sandwich was born.
You want to start with a good quality bread. Whether you like it with sesame seeds or not, make sure it's a nice crunchy crispy bread. Then you want to lay down some mayo, cook up some shaved ribeyes with caramelized onions. As to bring it all together, you gotta use some Swiss cheese. Let that melt right on top. Now place your bread over it, flip the whole thing up, and you're left with the American classic, Philly cheesesteak. You can always wrap it up in paper to make it even more official, but I can tell you one thing. If you've ever been to Philadelphia, you know how good this is.
You know, this is one of my favorite sandwiches. A lot of moisture, very saucy. Even though it's not really that much sauce, I'm pretty sure it's just cheese and mayo. But man, this is so good.
And classic Philly cheese with caramelized onions, the creaminess of the mayo, and that seasoned beef. It's a great combo. You can't go wrong.
It really is. This is one of like the very creative ways to use caramelized onions in dishes. Like you would think that this would go good any other way, like on a regular platter, but on a sandwich, the meat with the caramelized onions goes really well.
Perfect. Plus the cheese kind of keeps it all together.
Philadelphia is great, but let's go on to the next one.
I gotta agree, a steak sandwich just hits different. This one is going on A tier. Now we're going all the way to Mexico. We all know Mexico is known for their tacos, but they also love their sandwiches. Now, even though there is a tremendous amount of sandwiches in Mexico, the number one is torta ahogada.
As you know, a bread is very important on a sandwich, and I got my hands on some authentic birrote bread. Now you want to open that up, spread some refried beans in both sides, add a delicious amount of carnitas right in the middle, followed by some avocado, cover it with the top bread, set it down on a serving plate, followed by a tomato spicy sauce. To finish it off, some cotija cheese goes right on top, a little bit of onions and cilantro. And that is torta ahogada. If you love your sandwich juicy, this is the one you must try.
Oh, it's a little spicy.
Oh,
It's very wet. I like it though.
The only thing I do not like about this is the bread is too soggy. I don't like that soggy bread.
You know, even though it is drenched in sauce, that is a very flavorful sauce. Because the bread is so dense, that sauce really seeps into it, soaks into the bread. So when you take a bite of that bread, you get that really nice, spicy, savory flavor in every bite. To be honest, I can't even taste the meat in this. Not at all. It's straight sauce.
I think the best part is the sauce. It keeps everything moist. It gives it a really good flavor. It is a tiny bit spicy, but I'm a fan actually. This might be one of my better ones for this video.
With that being said, I think we should wash our hands and move on to the next one.
Yep.
I understand it's a little soggy and that makes sense, so we will go on C tier. But now we're going to Turkey. If you ever had Turkish food, you know how good it is, everybody. It is a meat paradise. Even though this next sandwich is a popular snack in many countries, Turkey does it big because their donors are way bigger than me, even though I'm a big guy. You know what I'm saying? But with all that being said, here's an incredible sandwich, doner.
You want to start with a flat bread. Lavage is fantastic for it. Now add a generous amount of doner meat. Make sure to be generous with it. Now you add some yogurt sauce, followed by some veggies if that's your thing. Add some hot sauce to make it spicy. Roll the whole thing up, and you are left with a wonderful sandwich that will please everyone. Believe me when I tell you, friends, there are many different variations of the doner sandwich. This one is phenomenal. At least that's what I think.
Oh wow, very flavorful.
I love this zesty sauce that's there. It adds like a nice dynamic, that very savory, very beefy. Man, this meat is like very juicy, extremely rich, but even through those strong flavors, I can still taste that nice, I guess like yogurt sauce or something. It brings in a nice amount of tartness that kind of balances out the flavors really well.
What I love about it is how seasoned the meat is. It's nice and seasoned, it's fatty, it's nice, man. This is good.
I'm so sorry. Even though the bread's a little soft for me, the vegetables really give give that crunch.
Yeah.
So like, that texture's great. Like well, you guys said it already. It's well seasoned, a little spicy.
Bro, we get it.
delicious Turkish burrito.
You want us to do the talking so that you can do the eating.
Correct. That's why I'm done.
Well, this is good, and I'm looking forward to seeing what's up next.
I'm gonna finish this though. I'm gonna finish this.
Doner is amazing. I love it so much, but I have to be fair to everyone else. I'll put it on B tier, but damn, I think it deserves S. As now we're heading all the way to Asia. To be specific, Vietnam. Now this country is full of wonderful dishes, including one of my favorite things to eat, which is pho. It is amazing, but there's one thing that stands above them all, and that would be the banh mi sandwich. Funnily enough, they took the baguette, which is the bread from the French, and their baguette is amazing. It's all about that bread. The toppings are nice as well, but if you get a good banh mi with a good bread, the doors of heaven will open up.
There are many variations of this sandwich. Most of them change up the type of meat, but there's one thing that is not changed ever, and that would be this, the bread. It is a French baguette that is light and crispy. Now there's one thing that you must have, and that would be pâté. So after spreading it around, I like to add my meat. For this variation, I'm using head cheese, pork roe, and roasted pork. Then I added cucumbers, pickled radish and carrots, a few slices of jalapeno, and finished it off with cilantro. Now in Vietnam, they used many different meats, but this one is my favorite. It's just a delicious bite.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
No, I think my favorite thing so far is that bread. It's so flaky and crunchy-ish.
It has like cucumbers and the carrots. It brings like the texture, the crunch.
Yeah.
I like that. I also like the hint of sweet.
You know, all in all, there's a lot to like about this sandwich. I love the flavors that it has. I love the crunch of the bread, the juiciness of the vegetables. It's just a very satisfying sandwich to eat, and I really like the meatiness that it has. It almost gives me kind of like a char siu type of flavor. It's very, very unique. I've never had anything like this. And there's like a light herbalness that I guess comes out of the sandwich, which is weird to say from a sandwich.
It also has jalapeno.
Oof.
Yeah, I caught one right now.
That's hidden?
It has all flavors, sweet, spicy. It's good though. It's good.
Sebastian's dying over here, so let's move on to the next sandwich.
I have to agree, everybody. This one just hits different, and with so many different variations, I have no choice but to put it in A tier. Now we're going to South America, to Uruguay. Created in the 1940s in Punta del Este, it is considered an Uruguay national dish, the one and only chivito.
If you take a look at this sandwich, you might think it's a burger. But believe me when I tell you, it's quite different from it. And here's the reason why. Of course, like every sandwich, you first start with a bread. This one is like a burger bun, but very soft. And instead of adding a burger patty, we go with skirt steaks, followed by sweet ham, a generous amount of crispy bacon, and as vegetables, a few tomatoes, lettuce, a fried egg with runny yolk. And to finish the whole thing off, you melt some provolone cheese on the bread and add that to this wonderful sandwich. Now, what do you think? Would you call this a sandwich or a burger? For me, it's definitely a sandwich.
Got the meat medium rare, perfect.
It is very nice. It's juicy, well cooked. For me, what I think of when I bite into the sandwich, it just has a really nice texture. Soft bread, a little bit of bite from the lettuce, juice from the tomatoes. There is a lot to dive through, but it tastes really good.
I think the thing that's good about this sandwich right now is like there's so much going on that, you know, usually you add bacon to the sandwich, it's dominating a lot of the flavor. Here, it's kind of like taking a back seat. It's kind of just blending in.
Even though Angel can't feel the freshness of the tomato and the lettuce, it goes very well with the meatiness of the sandwich.
I think it's better without the salad, but I mean, that's me.
Let's see what sandwich is up next.
I mean, yeah, come on. You have all of the wonderful meats. I have to agree. It will go on A tier. Very, very high A tier. Now we're moving on to Portugal. I was recently there and I found one of the most incredible sauces ever. It's called piri piri sauce. That thing is so good that I made an entire video about it. And this thing is also considered a national dish. The whole story about it is that a chef wanted to make his own version of the croque madame, which is a French sandwich. And it is now one of the most popular things to eat in Porto. The one and only francesinha.
This sandwich can be done in different ways, and everyone has their take on it. But when I was in Portugal, this one was my favorite spot. It's just a monstrosity and I really enjoyed eating it. Now here's how to make the sandwich. You first want to make a tomato cream with beer sauce. Once that's done, you toast up some bread, add some ham on top, followed by chorizo, another slice of bread, Add some mozzarella cheese, a few steaks, another slice of cheese, bread goes right on top. Melt a generous amount of cheese on the oven just like this, and after adding that to the sauce, you want to throw in a fried egg right on top. Now this is francesinha, a fantastic sandwich that if you've never tried it before, you definitely should. It is delicious.
There's a lot going on here. It has a sausage, it has skirt steak, some ham in there.
I had this once, thought I would never have it again, because honestly, it is a lot. I'm glad I got to have it again.
The thing is, it's so many things going on in this sandwich, but it's really good.
Portugal, you know what you're doing. This is delicious. But let's try the next one.
I'm telling you guys, I'm speechless because I know how good it is. It will go on S tier. Oh yes. Now we're going to Greece. This might be the most popular dish out of Greece because you can find it everywhere. And it is a sandwich with different variation of Turkish. As far as I know, the biggest difference is always the seasoning. But they have several different types of gyro. And this one is a pork gyro.
Made with good quality ingredients, this one is always best eating it fresh. You want to start with a pita bread, add some veggies including lettuce, tomatoes, red onions, followed by the grilled pork skewers. Finish it off with a generous amount of olive oil, and there we have it, grilled pork gyros. Easy to make, and when it's done right, it's in a whole nother level.
I'm doing a lot of chewing here.
It's very dry.
I'm agreeing with Sebastian there. Although the meat is very juicy and tender, it's like missing a sauce. You know, you do get some juice from the tomatoes and the vegetables, which Angel doesn't have, but it does need some type of sauce, some type of mayo, something extra. This bread is like fluffy and thick, but it gives you a dry mouthfeel.
I agree that the bread does give you that dry mouthfeel, but since I took out all the vegetables and the meat's pretty juicy, I'm having a great time.
I'm sorry, Angel, but you cannot describe when you take off 95% of the gyro.
Looks like Angel has a salad on his plate right now. It's not a bad sandwich. I just think it could be a better sandwich with more things added to it.
Wow, I'm very surprised about that. I thought they were gonna love it, but gyro Edo is always good to me, so I'm gonna put it on C tier. Now, Japan. I mean, what can I say? You already know, everybody. Japan is known for its food. From sushi to Japanese Wagyu A5, you can have an experience there just with food alone. But there's one sandwich that beats them all, especially if you ever been to a 7-Eleven. It's called the Tamago Sando, aka 7-Eleven egg sandwich.
This one might be the easiest one of them all, as you want to start with some milk bread, followed by that wonderful egg mixture, which is literally boiled eggs and Kewpie mayo. Make sure you're generous with it. And if you want to take it to another level, double stack it with even more. Because as you already know, if you've ever been to Japan, you know how iconic this is. And it's pretty delicious too.
Wow, super creamy egg.
Zero resistance. Zero.
I think it's fantastic, especially for what it is. It's a simple egg sandwich. You make the filling, you put some bread in. You can eat that hot, you can eat that cold, you can eat that all
But
the
then it
time.
tastes like scrambled egg. It tastes like hard-boiled egg.
It's delicious.
What?
Yeah, like, you know, there's like a feeling and a difference in taste when you hard-boil the egg versus when you just straight up scramble it.
Egg is egg, bro. It's
egg.
good every
You're
way.
capping if you think that it doesn't taste different. Hard-boiled versus scrambled.
Well, whatever Angel says, I think it's time to move on to the next dish.
Tastes like a hard-boiled egg, bro.
We'll leave that to the comment section.
Look, I understand it's fair, but for me, that's a really high S tier because it reminds me of Japan. But based on everyone, we must be fair, A tier. Now this one, we're going to Cuba, but not really because we have to swave it to Miami. Now here's the deal, the Cubano sandwich. Most people think that it's from Cuba, but it's really not. It's from here, Miami. This is an iconic sandwich that took the world by storm. Everyone have their own take on it, and each one is kind of different. But the one thing that they all have in common, it always turns out awesome.
What you really need for this sandwich is good quality ingredients. Get yourself some Cuban rolls, open it up and spread some yellow mustard, add some Swiss cheese and ham, followed by some roasted pork and pickles. Close the whole thing up nice and tight. And the next step is what really makes it. You want to get a grill press, spread a generous amount of butter, lay your sandwich right on top, spread even more butter on the top bun, close the whole thing up and press. In the end, you should have a nice gooey cheese, as you want to go ahead and split it just like this, and you are left with the Cubano sandwich. This is iconic here in Miami and something you should definitely have.
I love the flattened pressed bread. It has like a nice char on the exterior. To be honest, I'm not a huge fan of Swiss cheese, so that's like the one thing I don't like about this sandwich.
I mean, it's a simple sandwich, but it goes pretty long. Like, it's tasty. The pork in here, I would even say it has like a savoriness to it that I think it pops out more than everything else. But it's super good. I like the ham. There's nothing wrong with this. Yeah. Just pickle.
What I will say is I'm a big fan of this Cuban pulled pork. It's not like American style, drenched in sauce. You just appreciate the nice porky flavor, and it's shredded. It adds a little bit of fluffiness to the sandwich too. I like my Cuban roots, and I like this Cuban sandwich. I don't know what to say. Sebastian, you like it?
Yes, I do like the cubano. It's just when you have something every day, I'm accustomed to it. I don't know what else to say. I'm not like surprised by it.
All right, let's see what's up next.
A Cubano sandwich is fantastic, and I'm putting it on B tier. Now we're heading to Messi's home country, Argentina. Known for meat, soccer, and amazing food, this sandwich is easy to make. When done right, you can't be beat. It is called choripan.
After grilling up your sausage, go ahead and split them open just like this. And if they're not juicy, you're not doing it right. Get yourself a French baguette, open that in half, spread some chimichurri on the bread, lay that grilled sausage right in the middle, and you are left with this. An easy to make sandwich that is just a crowd pleaser. And if you love sausages, you are really gonna enjoy this one.
Wow. So juicy.
A burst of flavor.
The chimichurri in here is a lot stronger than I was expecting. I don't mind it. It goes really well with the chorizo in there. It's really nice.
I'm not bothered by the chimichurri at all. It tastes amazing. This is really good. It's a basic sandwich. It's simple, but it's great.
And as you guys can tell, this is some tough, crispy bread.
Yeah, definitely crispy.
This was delicious, but I'm excited to see what's next.
Now choripan, I'm putting it on C tier. And now where one of the most iconic car brands have been born, Ferrari, which we're going all the way to Italy. Now this country has many different kinds of foods, as you already know. So with that being said, it was only fair that I went to the country to learn more about sandwiches. And believe me when I tell you, they have quite a few of them, but one stands above them all. That would be the porchetta sandwich.
Now before we jump to the making of the porchetta sandwich, I must mention this. It is the Paradiso from Antico Vinaio. I had it straight in Italy, and it was incredible. However, a porchetta sandwich done right, you don't need that many ingredients. This one that I had in Rome was amazing, and it was just bread and meat, nothing else. However, there was something slightly wrong with this one, which I came to find out later on in Antico Vinaio. They have a porchetta sandwich there, and the way they slice the porchetta is super thin, which makes it a much better bite. So after having that, here's one of my favorite Italian sandwiches. Get yourself a nice large crusty Italian bread. Open that up right in the middle, and just like they did it to me in Italy, you don't want to put anything else. No mayo, ketchup, sauce. Just make sure to lay down a generous amount of porchetta in the middle. As in the end, you will have this porchetta sandwich just like they do it in Italy, and it just hits different. Believe me when I tell you.
Ooh, man.
The meat's fantastic. Even though it's a big sandwich, I'm not a fan of how big the bread is. There's too much bread for me.
This is a big bun, but I still think this works. I mean, you have a lot of meat, so it's okay to have that bun because, I mean, you gotta chew through it no matter what. What do you think, Fe?
This is ridiculously fatty. The fat flavor is attacking my tongue in here. It's a lot. It's very overwhelming. Normally, I feel like the bread should combat that and kind of cool it off. It doesn't really do it. I'm assuming because it's like a toasty bread, but yeah, that's how I feel about that one.
I would have to agree with him as well because, like, I wish there was like a sauce, like an acidic sauce to counterbalance that fattiness. What do you? Well, you liked it.
I'm cool. I'm cool. You can leave this just like this for me. I like this.
I think we should move on to the next one.
You don't want to eat more?
You can finish
I'll eat this, but...
Perfect. That's all you.
I understand where everyone is coming from because they don't use any sauces, as you already know. But we must keep it traditional and put nothing. This one will go on C tier. As now we're moving on to France. This sandwich was originated in France around 1910s. It is called croque madame.
Think of this sandwich as an upgraded ham and cheese because it starts off that way with just ham and cheese and another slice of bread. Then you want to spread bechamel sauce on top, followed by a generous amount of cheese. Stick that in the oven and let the whole thing melt. And as that's happening, you want to go ahead and fry an egg. Oh yes, get those edges nice and crispy, as once the cheese is fully melted, the egg goes right on top. As this is a delicious French sandwich. Believe me when I tell you, it is hard to resist.
Bro.
It's a solid egg sandwich.
It's not an egg sandwich, bro. It's an egg on a sandwich.
What can I say? I mean, really good. I really like how it's like not too messy. You can actually pick this one up and eat it.
To me, it's just a regular sandwich with an egg on top. I'm not gonna say too much about it. It's good. It doesn't surprise me in any way. The one thing I could say is like the top layer is creamy with that vegemel sauce.
Yep.
But other than that, it's a regular sandwich.
It feels like a very fancy grilled cheese with egg on top.
It's a fancy ham and cheese sandwich. Well, croquet madame, something simple, but I think it's pretty tasty.
Delicious.
Let's try out the next one.
I understand where everybody's coming from. It's like a fancy ham and cheese, so I'm putting it on D tier. Now we're moving to the biggest country in South America, where I was born, Brazil. Let me say that properly, Brazil. But with that being said, there's one sandwich that is just absolutely ridiculous. And I don't understand why it's not so popular everywhere else in the world. Maybe no one has seen it and it doesn't get enough recognition, because this is X tudo.
It starts with a regular hamburger bun. Now lay down some mayo, followed by tomato, lettuce, ham, a generous amount of steak, followed by chicken, a couple of slices of cheese. Melt that up real good. Now add 2 hot dogs, a fried egg goes right on top, and finish it off with the top bun. Now this is a proper X tudo. It is iconic in Brazil, and we all love it.
It's fresh with all the tomatoes and lettuce.
If I close my eyes and keep chewing, it's almost like I'm actually in the motherland. My favorite part of this sandwich is just the sheer amount of protein in it. You're not missing anything here. You got the beef in here, you got the chicken, it's delicious. The cheese is perfect. It's not too melted the way it's supposed to be, and the egg is perfectly cooked.
And with all that protein, there's also the egg yolk just covering all that protein together to make it all like yolky and creamy.
If I had to say, this is at least top 3 for me so far.
It lives up to its name, right? The X tudo, it's got everything you need.
Gotta be honest with you, come on. It has everything you want on a sandwich and more, and you can take it home and have the same meal next day for one price. Come on, we have to put it in S tier. Everyone loved it. I'm not being biased, even though I'm Brazilian. Let me know in the comments down below. But most importantly, which countries did we miss? And leave it down in the comments down below as well, because the top ones we will definitely make a video on. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, hit that thumbs up. If you're not a subscriber, be sure to subscribe, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Take care, buddy. Bye-bye.